Warning: this video may contain strong language and themes which are not suitable for viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is advised. You have been warned.
It's Halloween. Let's trick or treat tonight. 'Cause maybe there's nowhere to hide from a pumpkin with a knife.
I keep dancing. Hi, everybody.
You always catch me dancing.
Welcome to Sinister Sisters. We are Genevieve and
Jillian.
we're pre-recording this episode tonight for everybody because this time, Saturday night, we will be having some drinks and having a little party for something very special. We've got Jillian's
My 30th birthday. Oh. Yay!
We put our banner up that says that we're pre-recorded. 30th birthday. That's cute.
I know. I like to dream.
So this topic tonight is one of my, I don't want to say favorite stories. Here's
I'm sorry. I am like allergic, itchy everywhere.
We can.
I hope she's ready to drink next week.
I hope so too. So tonight we're going to talk about the Jersey Maneater. And Jillian,
I'm sorry. I won't take
did
it.
not do her homework. Don't sing. Stop it.
Okay.
So, so this happened during the summer of 1916. This whole story. This whole thing.
Pause. Who the hell is that?
Oh,
Who the hell is that?
I don't know who Facebook user is.
Yes, it is a challenge. But who the hell is that? Bring your tent. You could sleep in my yard. I don't know who Facebook user is, but
we'll have to check.
I'm gonna have to fight them.
We'll have to check on that later. So,
show yourself, Facebook user.
We have another Facebook user too that says me too. I don't know. I can't see who they are.
I don't know who they are, but they can tell us who they are.
So
I can hate you for the rest of my life.
Just stop it. So this story is an example of something that seems pretty sinister, but in fact, it is actually the story of an animal really being what an animal does. He's really just living his life, doing his thing. And obviously to the great detriment of the victims of the shark attacks of 1916. And I think when we first started talking about doing this, I was like, okay, well, it was a terrible tragedy and it was upsetting. There were 4 people that died, 2, possibly 3, possibly 2 people that were injured. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I think that the actual sinister aspect of it really is how people handled the whole situation.
You keep saying it.
I know.
We are the Sinisters. By the way, Facebook user is Andrew. So.
Oh boy, Andrew, you have to sleep in
dead.
the same house as her.
It ain't in the same bed anymore.
All right. So the summer of 1916 was incredibly hot. And from July 1st through the 12th, there was an apex predator coasting off the Jersey Shore. They believe it's possibly one. Not quite sure exactly how many sharks were hanging out in the water. The species of shark is still debated over 100 years later. It still hasn't been confirmed whether this was a bull shark or a great white shark. And again, I can get into that a little bit later too.
Well, once we get our time machines up and running, we'll find out.
So over this period of 12 days, they call it the 12 Days of Terror. There's actually a book called The 12 Days of Terror, I think. So 4 people were killed. Definitely one person was injured by the shark, potentially two. Many books have been written on this story. My favorite part of the story is that it was the inspiration for the movie Jaws, which I maintain is Jaws is still one of my favorite movies, and I think is probably one of the best movies ever made. My sister
I never seen it.
has
I
never
never saw
seen
it.
it.
I don't care about
I
sharks.
just don't get it.
I don't care about sharks.
It's not about a shark. It's about the human drama. It's all about it. So
it's about a goddamn shark, and I don't care about it.
I think it's one of the best movies ever made. But anyway,
I'm gonna watch it tonight.
No, you're not. You say you're going to, and you're not going to. One of the best books that I've ever written. Lauren, come on,
that you ever written?
You guys, one of the best books I think that I've ever read is called.
I was like, you writing books on me and not telling me? I wrote like 75 books, but I never told you about them.
Are you done? Can I? Are you done? Okay, I will kick you right off. So, the events that happened in July of 1916 sparked a huge wave of panic, both locally and nationally. There were many shark hunts that ensued after this, with the intention of killing the Maneater, in order to protect the resort towns of the Jersey Shore. It was known to be the largest animal hunt in history. What are you dancing to?
Maneater in my head.
Oh my god. Anyway, some towns enclosed their beaches with steel nets to protect their bathers from shark attacks. Some towns
people, man.
Wait, it gets better.
Snack.
Some towns had armed guards like going around the beaches in motorboats, trying to shoot sharks that were close to the water.
Sorry. I think of a way different thing when I hear motorboat. Sorry.
Oh, Jillian. Some resort towns
you keep freezing up a little bit.
Oh. Some resort towns received government aid to help offset some of the costs of the shark paranoia, because obviously people weren't going down the shore. There were local and state campaigns to capture the shark. This led to killing of at least hundreds of animals off the coast of the shore. The east, and as I mentioned, the East Coast shark hunt, as it was known, is still the largest organized animal hunt in U.S. history. Hundreds of sharks killed.
Yeah, humans, man.
Humans.
We're the worst.
So, it all started.
My hot pink drink.
Your hot. That is a nice looking drink. This whole thing actually. Do you want to tell everybody what's in that drink?
No. Don't call me out.
Well, you were already called out. So there were a lot of things that factored into these deadly shark attacks. Partly it was due to the fact that July 1916, the heat was just unbearable. And unlike today, we didn't have air conditioning and stuff back then. So a lot of people were heading down to the Jersey Shore because it was cooler there. You can go swimming in the water and cool off.
I don't ever go there.
Just I know we live in New Jersey, right? I live right by the beach, but
I don't ever go to New York City. Never.
I know. So in addition to all of that, there was a polio epidemic going on as well. And that was kind of forcing people to get out of the cities and head to the shore. So there were a lot of things, there were a lot of complications that really kind of exacerbated this whole situation. So there were a ton of visitors at the beach. It was really hot. Everyone was going in the water. So at the time, shark scientists, ichthyologists, I love that word. Ichthyologist. It means fish scientist.
Theologist.
They didn't have the amount of knowledge about sharks that we do today. And most of what they believed about sharks was just either speculation or conjecture. So they really didn't have a lot of information about what was going on.
We still don't know so much about the ocean as it is.
I know, but we definitely know a lot more about sharks today.
Yeah, they eat you. They eat you. Well, we're gonna go to shark cage next week, right? That's what we're doing.
Yeah, you couldn't pay me to get in the shark cage. So although that field of study has grown exponentially since then, as I mentioned before, we still don't know what species it was. We do know, I know at least, the absolute way to not get attacked by a shark.
Don't go in the ocean.
Yes.
Until there's land sharks.
Yes.
Candy Graham. Candy Graham.
It's one of my favorites still to this day.
Land shark.
Land shark. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna comment. If someone told me they were a shark scientist, I would immediately think they're a stupid lying jerk. Who is this Facebook? Are they all Facebook users that?
They're all Facebook users to me.
Yeah,
Guys, I love you all. Can you just sign your name at the end of your comment, because it's all coming up as Facebook user.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I want to give you the credit for being hilarious.
So do we want to start talking about the attacks?
I guess. I mean, that's kind of over here.
Well, I didn't know if you had other plans since you didn't do your homework.
I mean, I got a couple naps lined up. I'm off this week.
So the very first attack occurred on July 1st, 1916. There was a young man named Charles Van Sant. He was from Philadelphia, and he was vacationing in Beach Haven, which is part of Long Beach Island. He was staying at a hotel called the Ingleside.
Oh, I know that place. I know that place.
The Ingleside? Or
no, Long Beach Island.
Oh, Long Beach Island. Yeah, Lauren, I'm not pronouncing that word. Morphologist.
You want a link to come on and tell us what that says? Look, I'm a natural blonde. It ain't coming out of my mouth.
Or something like that. So, July 1st, Charles Van Sant is staying at the Ingleside. Before dinner, he decides that he's going to take a swim in the Atlantic. There was a dog playing on the beach, a Chesapeake Bay Retriever. Aww. So when Charles started shouting, the people around him initially thought that he was playing with the dog and that he was shouting to the dog. What they didn't realize is that the shark was biting his legs. Why are you laughing at that horrific thing?
Because I watch too much stupid TV. That's why. And there's a whole Family Guy thing where Jaws is in it, and he comes up and he's like, I'm gonna eat that hairy leg. And now that's all I think about.
It's terrifying.
I just wish that we could record 5 minutes of what happens in my brain.
I think we're probably
You're all good.
So what they didn't realize is that a shark was biting Charles's legs. Are you going to be able to handle that, Jillian?
Eat that hairy leg.
There was a lifeguard named Alexander Ott and a bystander named Sheridan Taylor. They went out to rescue Charles. Just to add to the terror of that situation, because I find this absolutely terrifying, the whole thing. The shark, he claimed that the shark followed them to shore. The shark chased them to shore.
He had legs?
He swam.
GD thing's got legs.
At the shoreline, the extent of the injuries were revealed. Charles Van Sant's left leg was stripped of flesh.
He had no legs.
He had, his one leg. Charles Van Sant died from his injuries on the manager's desk at the Ingleside Hotel at 6:45 p.m. on July 1st.
Could you imagine?
Because she's a monster.
Little known secret, I am the shark.
So the Jersey beaches remained open after the attack.
Of course, because
July was approaching.
No, that's not alarming or anything.
Well, that the beaches closing would be economically devastating, and I will try so hard not to quote Jaws throughout this because it really does. It follows the whole story.
You're such a dweeb. You're just such a dweeb.
It's one of the best movies ever made. I don't care what you say. So there was a lot of debate actually on what the cause of Charles's injuries were. People were denying that it was even a shark. They were saying that there were German U-boats in the area, and they were pushing sea life toward the
shredding
shore.
legs.
No, that they were like disrupting their sonar, I don't even know if they knew about sonar at that time, but they were disrupting their swim patterns and pushing them closer to shore.
No, they just have that guy that came up in like the telescopic thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were trying really hard to figure out. Nobody was really willing to admit that this was an actual shark attack.
I still got Maneater playing in my head. I still have Maneater playing in my head.
Oh dear God. So I was afraid that was
going to play it on repeat next week at the party.
So they anyway, you're going to keep distracting me throughout the story.
That's why I'm here.
Beaches stayed
Big
open.
Jaws, little Jaws.
Beaches stayed open, and then on July 6th, it happened again. 45 miles north of Beach Haven, Charles Bruder was attacked. Interesting that they're both named Charles.
Everybody was named Charles back then.
You think?
Charles and Dick.
Charles Bruder was
the only names you had to choose from back then.
Charles was the bell captain at the Essex and Sussex House, which is a hotel in Belmar, New Jersey. As I mentioned, 45 miles north of Beach Haven.
We are very familiar with Belmar.
We are. We used to spend our summers there. And it's not too far from where I live. Oh, it was pre-Jillian.
Because I'm only 29.
Yes. Charles was 27 years old, and he was a very strong swimmer. In fact, he was about 130 yards off the coast when this attack happened. I don't even know that I could walk 130 yards, let alone.
Did we adjust that for inflation so I know what that means?
I did. Wait, later on, I do have something that's been adjusted for inflation for you.
My favorite.
I know. I kept that in mind while I was coming up with this, with all the facts of the story. So this shark attack was just as vicious, actually a little bit more vicious. The shark bit him in the abdomen and severed both of his legs. Control yourself. The water turned red with his blood, and witnesses thought that a red canoe had capsized. That's how red the water became. They thought
that's gross.
Horrifying.
That's gross. It's like when I wash my hair.
So this time the lifeguards, Chris Anderson and George White, they took a rowboat out to rescue Charles Bruder and realized that it was a shark attack. They realized when taking him out of the water that he was a bit too light, and that's when they noticed that both of his legs were gone.
Because half of him is gone. That's why.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Charles bled
half
to death.
His bitch be missing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he bled to death in the lifeboat on his way back to shore. Apparently, women fainted at the sight of his body when he was brought back to shore.
What? I don't understand. When do people stop fainting?
I don't know, but
it's not a thing anymore. It's not a thing. There are horrific things that people are witnessing with their iPhones because they're recording everything.
That's true.
Ain't nobody fainting anymore.
Maybe that's why. Maybe we're just desensitized to all the brutality.
Oh, we're definitely desensitized, but still, I want a little everlasting faint to happen sometimes.
I think I might faint if I saw somebody pulled to shore after a shark attack.
Oh, I would vomit immediately. No legs, done.
Yeah.
Everything I've eaten for the last 25 years, out.
Oh, Jillian. Ew.
That was a special one for you after that movie last night.
Oh, we can't talk about the movie yet.
Okay.
just as a side note, we watched The Houses October Built last night.
Mhm.
Incredibly good movie. If you guys are watching and looking for a horror movie, really, really good movie. So anyway,
I still like that other one I said. I forgot. Keep going.
So even though 2 people witnessed the shark attacking Charles, there was still shark denial. Nobody really seemed to want to believe that this was a shark.
You could just relate this to so many things happening.
Yeah. So one of the theories that was floated was that it was actually a sea turtle. Now, okay.
Have you met a sea turtle?
I don't care what's severing legs, whether it's a shark or a sea turtle. Either one is cause for staying out of the water.
Not if you don't believe in it.
I guess. Yeah, and then again, the other idea of the German U-boats coming by and forcing.
I'm
marine
sorry,
life.
but if there are reports of a man being dragged out of the ocean with no legs, I am not going into the ocean.
I know, but
It's too vast.
They also claim that because of the war, this was another theory. Because of the war, sharks, like there were soldiers that were dead in the ocean, and sharks were getting
so
used
mad at
to
them.
wasting human flesh, and that was forcing them to come to shore.
Delicious.
I don't know.
Apparently, delicious.
Other theories is that it was a rogue shark and that he had set up some territory in the area and was just going through.
I just keep applying like human thought and emotions to sharks.
I really wish I knew who this
that has to be
was.
Chris. That has to be Kristen.
You 2 are acting like 2 ladies that haven't had your legs removed from a sea turtle attack.
I mean, I'll show you my prosthetics if you want me to.
Oh, Jillian.
That has to be Kristen. It has to be.
So it can be argued that the reluctance of local officials to close the beaches and send out warnings and follow all those proper procedures probably contributed to the death of Charles Bruder and some of the following shark attack victims as well, because nobody was really willing to accept the fact that this was happening and it could be
that Darby sharks.
Yeah, it was Kristen.
It was her.
So 2 people dead and the beaches stayed open.
Dumb.
And they stayed open.
Dumb.
So the final 3, possibly 4, may have actually, they could have possibly been prevented. However, they did.
People weren't stupid.
But these subsequent attacks were really far from the open ocean. Like they weren't like people just swimming at the beach. They were a bit more inland. So I don't know that people would even that they would even think that a shark would have been there.
No. But a sea turtle, maybe.
Sea turtle.
Are you sure they didn't say sea-doo?
I don't know what a sea. What?
You sure it wasn't a sea-doo?
I don't know.
Like a wave runner.
Yeah, I'm thinking they didn't have those in 1960.
Oh, I forgot about that. That technology part.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wee.
So last weekend, Jillian and I visited some of the areas.
We did. We
that
saw
are
each
part
other.
of. Yes, we did. That are part of the next part of the story. This part of the attacks and stuff happened not too far from where I live. So, and it's also one of the stories that I share on Jersey
I don't know
Shore
why you
Maneater.
don't have a giant mechanical shark in front of your house.
Where would I get a giant mechanical shark?
I'm going to be Googling later.
I would love that because I love Jaws.
I know.
So,
and I'm not watching it out of spite.
I know you are. I just don't get it. I don't get it. So we were pretty lucky. We had a really nice day last week, and we got to visit not just where the shark came came into the area where he attacked, but also some of the graves and some of the memorials for the shark attack victims. So this part is a little bit more personal for me because it's like it happened not too far from where I live. And again, I tell the story like every weekend once ghost season starts. So I find this to be really interesting. And again, and like I mentioned, it probably could have been prevented if people were only a little bit more proactive and aware and listen to warnings. Yeah. Before we get into the last part of the attacks, because we're about half an hour in, do you want to do a quick commercial break and then we'll get into the Matawan shark attacks? All right. So stick with us, guys. We'll be right back very quickly.
Coming to you live from Psycho Mantium 13. Join us here throughout the week for all things in audio, visual, and literary content. You can also find us on the World Wide Web at psychomantium13.com. Join Psychomantium 13 and enter the weird.
Oh, I was entering the weird. I was dancing. Leave me alone. I miss dancing.
I know. I miss dancing too. Before we get into the shark attacks, I just want to remind everybody to please check out Psychomantium 13, Psycho Bunny DC, Psycho Bunny.
All the shows.
All the shows. PBDC TV.
You did it! I'm so happy for you.
I struggle with that one. I don't know why. It's like a ton
PBDC TV. Like Tom, you just got PBDC TV.
I know Tom's really good at it, but yeah, check out all the other
content. Practices all night long.
There's a lot of really great stuff on all these outlets. A lot of really cool content creators. So please check them all out.
A lot of clowns.
Yes, a lot of clowns. Yeah. So back to Matawan. So this part of the story starts on July 12th of 1916. You look like you're so intent drinking your drink. So on July 12th, there was a local sea captain here in Keyport. He was walking along the what?
Just like these old timey things I just keep getting in my head, like the sea captain, and because I've been to Keyport, so. Just like an old timey, like Popeye
hype and
like it looks like Popeye, just
Well, his name was Thomas Cottrell. He owned a bait shop here in Keyport, and he was walking along the creek that morning, and he saw the shadow of a very large fish entering the Matawan Creek. Now, keep in mind, not much was known, as I mentioned, not much was known about sharks at the time. He estimated that this shark was about 8 feet long. So being a responsible, that is terrifying. Being a responsible person, he decided he was going to run down to the town phone. Yes, the town phone.
Well, yeah, because it was probably like I have to just hit 1 for help.
Yeah, and he called the town phone of Matawan to let everybody know that he saw this large shark swimming up the creek. And he was kind of ignored on that warning. So after that, he got into a small boat and he went up and down the creek, and he was warning everybody that he saw that there was a shark in the water. He knew that there would be kids playing in the creek later. He knew that people would be going in the water. So he really wanted to make sure that everybody was safe. And again, his warnings were dismissed.
Never
And-
learn. Never learn.
At least with this, though, I can kind of,
You know, we're just the dumbest species.
yeah. I'm not going to argue that. But at least with this,
Cheers.
cheers.
Cheers to the dumbest species.
At least with this, though, it was nobody really thought it was likely that a shark could be swimming that far inland.
Yeah, but not in well, I guess, you know.
It was 11 miles from the open ocean.
All right, yeah.
That's kind of far.
Yeah, but I mean, people are being pulled out with no legs.
You know how it goes. Some people don't believe it.
Ain't
until
gonna
it
happen to
happens
me.
them. Exactly. So Matawan's about 30 miles from Belmar. And that shark would have had to swim into the Raritan Bay and then enter this tidal creek. 11 miles from the open ocean. So around 2 p.m. that day, Lester Stillwell and his friends were given the afternoon off. They were boys of about 12 years old. They were working in a basket making factory in town because kids at that age could
Because of course
be
they were.
employed. Yep.
Probably
So
made
it was-
more than I did.
It's going to be so hot that day that their boss allowed them to take the afternoon off. And they went down to the Matawan Creek to an area that was known as the Wyckoff Dock. One of the boys brought their dog with them. So it's interesting. On the one hand, it's kind of interesting to note that there was a dog for the first shark attack. And then for this shark attack, there have been, there were some rumors that the dogs actually were attracting sharks in some way, that the way the dogs were swimming in the water made it kind of look like injured prey species or something like that.
I could see that.
But I think
Yes.
that's kind of been dismissed since then.
You know, since I eat all those humans because I am the shark.
So
Yeah.
Lester's, see, you can't do the Jaws song if you've never seen the movie.
Oh, you're gonna punch me so hard next week.
I'll just kick you out.
You're gonna
And
pinch
I'll
me.
finish-
You're gonna give me a sly
I'll by
pinch.
myself.
You're gonna give me a bunch of sly pinches. I know you.
I'll just finish.
You're
it
gonna
up by
you're gonna get me on the back of my arm.
So anyway, Lester's friends claimed that they saw what
Jenna.
they described. Stop. They described it as an old weathered log, and it was floating near Lester. Then they saw the fin.
Then that bitch comes out of the water.
Of course, they were horrified when they watched the shark attack Lester. The shark actually pulled their friend underwater, and of course, the water turned red. They ran into town to get some help. Now, these were really tight knit communities back then. They pretty much are still today. So
Could they actually see what color the water was back then? Was it not Jersey Shore color?
I thought you were talking about history being in black and white.
Oh, you bitch. It's gonna be a pinch fight next week. As soon as I see you, it's just the two of us are like little crabs pinching at each other.
That's really what I thought you meant.
Because I'm a stupid bitch.
So anyway,
You're not nice.
of course, the friends ran into town. They grabbed a bunch of people they could find and brought them back down to the waterfront to help them find Lester. One of the people that they got for help was a man named Stanley Fisher, and Stanley was a very well-known man in the community. He had a tailor shop in town. He knew these kids really well. He knew their families. Again, it was a really small community, so everybody really knew each other. They all went down to the waterfront. And here's a part, as I was doing more research for this is a part that I never really heard before, but one of the articles was talking about a man named Arthur Smith. And this is why I said that there were there was definitely one injury, possibly two. There was a carpenter named Arthur Smith, and he rushed to the site and plunged into the creek, really looking for Lester. And he was scratched or whacked by something that he didn't see. So he swam for shore, and he ended up having about 12 stitches placed in his leg from the injury. So they suspect that the shark had attacked him as well.
So
But
sharks favor legs.
well, it's what's underwater.
It's your takeaway. That's your takeaway.
Yeah. So
Hide
again,
your legs when you see a shark. Tuck them in.
dunk in the water.
Just tuck them in.
Just dunk in the water. So anyway, Stanley Fisher, he felt he was heard several times saying that he felt like it was his duty to find Lester, that he wanted his family to have Lester's body back for a proper burial.
Or pieces of.
Hello,
you.
You're very aggressive tonight, Jillian. So Stanley was in. Stanley was actually in Captain Cottrell's boat when he decided to jump off the boat and try to find Lester. People were going through the creek with like long sticks and stuff, like trying to find him. But Stanley jumped in. The water was really murky, so he did find Lester. He did find Lester pretty quickly, and when he wrapped his arms around the boy, the shark turned and attacked Stanley. So when Stanley came to the water, he again was missing flesh from his hip to his knee. So yes, sharks do like legs.
I'm gonna eat that hairy leg.
So I mean, I'd imagine like that type of injury would be really difficult for someone to survive in 2021. But imagine 1916. Everything was so much more complicated.
No, you're not surviving anything in 1960.
No,
they're just going to pour mercury on it.
Cars,
no,
roads are
pour
unpaved.
morphine and mercury. That's it. That's all they have.
And think about it too.
And cocaine.
The closest hospitals to Matawan at the time were Long Branch or New Brunswick. One, I believe, was like 15 miles away, and one was about 17 or 18 miles away.
That's crazy.
19. Long Branch was 19 miles away.
That's crazy.
So they decided to take Stanley to Long
I
Branch.
got one 3 blocks away.
I know. It's crazy. They decided to take Stanley to Long Branch Hospital, but to get him there, they had to wait at the train station, the Matawan train station. So I think, did we have pictures of that?
Did you upload it?
Oh, no. I didn't have it. But
sorry,
wait, real quick,
sorry,
let me backtrack a little bit. This right here is a picture of the, this is the Raritan Bay. So this is where the shark came in.
Mm-hmm.
And this area here is pointing toward the Matawan Creek, which is where the shark swam up.
Dana.
No.
Yeah. I know.
Apparently yellow shorts attract sharks. They shine.
I could see
bright
right up them
colors.
shorts.
That's good. I don't ever wear yellow.
Oh
never.
my God. Mm-hmm.
So
have you met us?
So Stanley was taken to Long Branch Hospital, Monmouth Memorial Hospital. But before getting there, he waited 2 hours at the train station for the next train to come. It must have been unbearable. Absolutely unbearable. And he was...
He had to be like in shock at that. Like
he must have been.
He had to have been. I mean, just like terrified shock and injured shock has to be like... You have to be.
You have to be. I know.
Stop giving me homework.
Read the book Close to Shore. Yes, that is an excellent book. It's one of my favorites.
Dominic Elizabeth.
So 2 hours under the care of a doctor. Prior to going into surgery, he claimed, "I did my duty." So he really felt as though he had done what he was supposed to do prior to passing away. He did die just before going into surgery from blood loss. And the very next day, Lester's body was found here in Keyport. So they were both able to have a proper burial, which I just can't even imagine.
Mm-mm.
Which brings us to our next. So one of the really interesting things about this, for me, is that the shark attacks were 105 years ago, right?
Mhm.
There are still pilgrimages to Lester's grave and Stanley's grave, and people leave gifts and things at these grave sites. So we got some cool pictures of that.
Mhm.
So that's Lester Stillwell's grave. People leave toys and things like that for him.
Oh, that creepy doll.
I know. This was a really nice shot. I like this one.
Thanks.
That was a good one.
I do good
So
work.
now, so now when you go to they're both buried in Rose Hill Cemetery in Matawan, New Jersey. This is Stanley's
Poor
grave.
Stanley. He's got so much less.
Well, Stanley's a little bit harder to find.
Did we find out the significance of the coins?
We did not, but I can't remember. It was something was written on this stone. It was something like a testament to his courage. I can't really read that at this point. But I think
it's like he like overlooks Lester.
Yeah, we have that video, right?
Mhm.
So Rose Hill Cemetery, as a side note, is well known in New Jersey to be one of the most haunted cemeteries in New Jersey.
You met your medium friend there.
Yes, we met Scott Davis there.
Mhm.
So it's also one of the highest points in the area as well. It's very hilly.
Yeah.
It was called Fox Hill.
Thanks for
a
telling me
long
that.
time. It was called Fox
God,
Hill.
another hill.
Part of the Revolutionary War was actually fought here too. This is where they did a lot of lookout because it's really such a high point in the area. But here's where Stanley is buried.
And Lester is over there. Is that the wind and me breathing? Jesus Lord. I need an inhaler. Oh my God.
So
I should
Stanley's
have brought
buried.
a lung machine with me. Good God.
The iron lung.
And there's Lester.
So Stanley's buried at one of the high points of the cemetery, and he is buried almost directly over where Lester is. So it's almost like he's still kind of looking out after him today. And here's another
To
video.
answer DJ's question, there were quite a few stones in Rose Hill that had like quarters or pennies, or it would. There was no rhyme or reason that I knew of that.
There is a tradition about it. I'm not familiar enough to talk about it.
One.
Yeah.
I noticed that little Stanley had some pennies.
And this is you're going to need a bigger boat. It's my favorite. It's my favorite Jaws quote.
A book on your.
No. Can I show the video of Lester's grave real quick? So there's a lot. There's there's a lot of toys and stuff there. I mean, people go there.
Good Lord. Longy Adams.
Well, no, that's my name. So people still go to the cemetery. They still visit them pretty regularly. And in fact, when we were there last weekend, there was somebody. We sort of had to like line up to stop at Stanley's grave.
Mhm.
There was somebody there filming something there as well. Another interesting, I kind of touched on it. Rose Hill is very, very haunted.
Show that.
Which part?
The one where you went at night.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful at night.
Creep. Do you live there? Because you're a ghost? Is that where you live? Do I just pick you up at someone's like a random house when I come and get you? It's not really your home.
It's the house I've been haunting for the last 20 years. The last 20 decades. So as I mentioned, it is incredibly haunted. It's beautiful. It's one of those really old like garden-like cemeteries. Here we go. Coins and rocks can signal there have been visitors and serves to recognize the person is still being remembered. Yes.
Very
There you
nice.
go.
Thank you.
So I've had a few weird experiences there. I know quite a few people who've had some strange experiences. A lot of things with weird things happening to photographs. Like I left there one day, and when I was looking through my camera, I had a camera at the time. That's how long ago it was. I had pictures
Oh,
on
yeah,
there
you just
that
got an
I
iPhone
didn't
like
take.
a month ago.
Oh, stop it.
Goes
Yeah,
to
so
technology.
it is definitely there's a different energy there, and it's kind of situated within like a neighborhood,
Yeah, it's weird. You're walking along and there's like a bunch of backyards, and you're like, "Hi."
but it's still really quiet.
Hey.
Like you're still kind of in the quiet. So
I'm just gonna bury a bunch of people in my backyard so I overlook a cemetery too.
I lost that other picture. I wanted that cool picture that we had at the beginning, that from walking into Rose Hill, that warning.
Oh, did I not upload it, or did I?
So Matawan has of course a long history of addressing this of not celebrating but marking the shark attacks. For a little while they did like a shark fest on the anniversary. It wasn't like a celebration. It was a memorial. It was like a
Everybody's wearing fins. Come on, guys.
So this is actually the memorial that was placed for Stanley and Lester. It's, you can see a little bit closer.
Photos.
So this is there's actually a picture of that's Stanley and that's Lester right there.
Yeah, we'll post them on the Sinister Sisters page too, so you can actually take the time to read it if you want to. That plaque.
Yeah, so even though those were the last two killed in this, it's not the end of the story. And we're going to run out of time because we got a little distracted. So anyway, about half an hour later, after these two attacks, what?
Sorry.
After these two attacks, there were two brothers, Joseph and Michael, that were swimming in Cliffwood Beach, and they were approached by Captain Cottrell, and Captain Cottrell was saying that they had to get out of the water. There was recently a shark attack not too far from there, and this is horrifying. Joseph claimed that he felt his leg go down the neck of the shark. The shark bit down, and his brother pulled him out of the mouth of the shark. So
it's a hungry ass shark, man.
No, Captain Cottrell helped the boy get into the boat, and he was taken to St. Peter's Hospital in New Brunswick. And they didn't think he was going to make it, but 59 days later, he walked out of the hospital on his own 2 legs.
Now, 6 hours later, they want you out.
I know.
You ain't staying in there 2 months anymore.
Seriously. So these really close-knit communities were absolutely rocked by these attacks. They couldn't believe that a shark could come into their waters. They couldn't believe that they had lost 2 members of their community.
I can't.
And they did what people do. A whole entire mob went down to the Matawan Creek.
Come on, guys.
They started shooting into the water with guns. They had spears.
Come on, guys.
Literally had pitchforks, dynamite. They were blowing up parts of the creek trying to find this shark.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
They blew up the creek.
People do not change.
I know. Captain Cottrell himself actually caught a shark not too long after that, a 230-pound bull shark near the mouth of the Matawan Creek, and sold tickets for people to come and see him on display.
That was him with his sea turtle buddy.
Yeah. So
Maybe
then there was another one. Michael Schleicher, he was a taxidermist from Harlem, and he was also a lion tamer for Barnum and Bailey circuses. He caught a 7-foot, 325-pound great white in the Raritan Bay and claimed that there were human remains in the stomach. So after he
and a license plate.
You sure you haven't seen Jaws? So
I mean, it's old enough that everybody knows what happened.
I know. So they claimed that there were definitely human remains in the stomach, that they found bones and things like that. And there were no
Tire.
subsequent there were no subsequent attacks after that shark was killed. So there's still a huge debate on whether or not it was a great white or a bull shark
Or a sea turtle.
or a sea turtle.
What do they even eat? Do we know?
I don't know, but I'm thinking it's not swimmer's legs.
I'm thinking it's not a leg, a lead,
Yeah,
a hair lead.
it's so scary. I mean, you just don't know what's going on around you in the water.
I'm throwing you into all the water now.
No,
Mhm.
no, I end up
Mhm.
doing that on my own. And
We're
the
going to
worst
Sandy
part,
Hook.
the worst part about it is like you're totally on their turf. Like they can
Yeah.
swim you regardless.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
I mean, once
So-
once the land sharks come, that's it. We're done.
I know. So some people do say that it's
Candygram.
still say that it's a bull shark because bull sharks have the ability to swim into not as salty water. They can go into brackish water. The theory that's put forth in Close to Shore is that it was actually a great white, and the fact that the Raritan and the Matawan Creek were a lot deeper.
Wasn't that the band that set that club on fire, Great White?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Useless knowledge filled with it.
Yeah. So some people do say that it was a great white, and due to the fact that the creek was deeper at the time and that there was a full moon going on, it pulled more salt water up the creek.
That pulled it back to happy hour. Candygram.
Candygram. And
Land shark.
that, yes, and that allowed the shark to actually get further inland than he normally would have. I just say he. It probably wasn't even a he. And still, you can.
I think we just all assume that all sharks are he's, even though
I don't know.
obviously.
There's Mary Lee, the shark. She swims up the Jersey coast, and they track her every year. I believe that she's a tagged shark, and they track her every year.
I want to go see the seals. Are they gone?
Probably. So, any final thoughts on that, Jillian?
Dana. That's it. That's all I have. Oh, you hate me today. You're like, get me off of this with her.
No,
With that one.
with that one over there.
That one. This one.
No, I just
gotta
still
deal
can't
with.
believe that you haven't seen the movie. I mean,
Oh, it's
and now at this
Pure
point,
spite.
at
Pure
this
spite.
point, you can't even really see it because it's never going to live up to your expectation because everyone's been saying how great it is. Everyone. For a really long time. Everyone. And when you see it, you're just kind of like, oh, that's it.
Oh, it's a mechanical shark. Okay, great.
It doesn't look like a mechanical shark though. And you're thinking of the subsequent ones. The first Jaws is the best movie.
I'm loving messing with you about this. It's the best. You're very, very defensive about your Jaws.
It's such a great movie. I
Very
will watch
defensive.
it every time it's on.
Candygram.
It's kind of like Zoolander. Whenever Zoolander's on, you just leave it on. It's just so good.
It's a good one.
It is a good one. So,
Gaslight.
any more comments to see?
No, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
Nobody's watching us. Just Jaws
Well,
into the ether.
I think it's a pretty interesting story. I think that it's. I'd like to think that we learned some lessons from it, but we probably haven't.
No, we have not. Mm-mm.
No. And it's so interesting to me that sharks kill maybe 2 or 3 people a year. We kill hundreds of thousands of sharks every year.
Yep.
And there's absolutely one way that you can avoid all shark attacks. Just don't go in. Just stay out of the
don't
water.
get nude in the ocean. Just don't dangle them little leggies in there.
Oh God, it's so terrifying. I get like if I'm in the water and like seaweed brushes against me.
Oh, I scream like
I'm
a little
out.
girl. Scream like a little girl. I don't know how many times I've been in a lake where I've screamed because something has brushed against me. Barnacles.
Yep, I'm out. I'm absolutely out.
If I
But
go
anyway,
anywhere and I see a barnacle, I'm done.
If you ever visit the Jersey Shore, if any of you guys are ever out here, there's a lot of points of interest around. We didn't even mention the fact that the
And it's
Essex
not all seaside, guys.
No, it's not. But we didn't even get into the fact that the Essex and Sussex house where Charles Bruder was the bellhop is haunted.
Mhm.
There's a lot of really cool ghost stories about that place as well. So we didn't even really get into that, and we're just about out of time.
Yeah, we are. It was a good one.
It was a lot of fun. For me, I think that one of the reasons that the Rose Hill Cemetery thing is so haunted is probably due to the fact that they've got those victims buried there. I'm sure that that's got to shake
looking
up
for their legs,
shake up some of the
just
energy in that
floating
area.
around looking for some legs. They don't want mine. Obviously, mine don't work. You've heard me breathe.
On that note,
take this lovely video. Jabba.
On that note, at this point on Saturday night it should be almost 11 o'clock at this point. I'm going to say that we are
going
having
to be a
really
show
fun
of
time.
Shit.
So, yeah, so we are going to end here, and we'll check in with you guys on Saturday for a brief moment in time.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how far along we are.
As we wish Jillian a happy birthday.
Happy 29.
Happy 29. Thank you guys for watching.
Thanks, guys.
See you in 2 weeks.
So appreciate it.
We'll see you in 2 weeks for for that Sinister Sisters. We're gonna have a sinister word for the night, like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yes, we will. I'm gonna print it out like Conky.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for watching us.
Thanks, guys.
We will see you soon. Have a wonderful evening.
Let's trick or treat tonight.